Are you drowning in debt and feeling like you can never get ahead? Imagine paying off your debt with a plan that actually works. In today's video, we'll be showing you how to pay off your debt faster by using the zero-based budgeting method, so you can finally breathe easy and start building real wealth. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Welcome back to this channel, Money CPR. If you are new here, my name is Ezekiel.
And my name is Kike.
And we are the
Adeleyes.
In this channel, we share tips and strategies on how to win big time with money. Today, we will focus on how to use a zero-based budget to pay off your debt faster. We highly recommend married couples to budget together. You probably argue and disagree at first. As time goes on, you will get better at it. Disclaimer: we are not financial advisors. Our recommendations are based on our experience and research. The number we share will be different for you depending on your family size, your location, income, and other factors. So I want you to feel free to adjust these numbers based on your needs.
Before you start paying off your debt, we highly recommend that you set some money aside, otherwise known as an emergency fund, to cover for any expenses that may arise while you're paying off your debt, because you don't want to keep spending credit while you're on your debt payoff journey. So generally, we recommend about $2,000 or any amount required to cover at least 1 month of expenses for your family. So what is zero-based budgeting? It's simple. With zero-based budgeting, you give every dollar of your income a job. So that means at the end of every month, your income minus expenses must equal zero. Every dollar is planned for, whether it's for essentials or debt repayment, so that you're not wondering where your money went. Before we get into the numbers, let's quickly review the 4 walls of budgeting. These are your essential categories that protect you and your family. They are food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. These 4 categories come first, and everything else like entertainment, subscriptions, and dining out can wait. Your 4 walls are the foundation of a solid budget, and by focusing on them, you make sure you're always covered when it comes to your basic needs. Now let's make this more practical. Let's say we have a couple earning about $5,000 monthly in income, and they have about $25,000 in debt with an interest rate of 7%. How can they use a zero-based budget to pay off this debt quickly? Here's a potential breakdown of how to budget using the 4 walls of budgeting as a priority.
Number 1 is food. This is one of the most essential part of your budget. I want you to remember that if grocery is essential, takeout or dine out or ordering from Uber is not essential. All that matters is your grocery, and that comes first. Take, for example, a family that earns about $5,000 as income monthly. They should spend about 10% to 15% of their income on food, and that's it. That's about $500 to $750. Let them stick to, planning their grocery, and this will allow them to free more space in putting more money into their debt. In our own case, I tell you, we really cut back on dining out and takeout. This really allowed us to put in more money into paying off our debt. Number 2 is utilities. These are the things that keep your home running. Things like electricity, water bills, heating, and basic phone bills. Since utility bills can vary month to month, I will really recommend that you budget on the high side. On average, utilities take about 5 to 10% of your monthly income. It shouldn't take more than 10%. If it takes more than 10%, there's a problem. For this couple, that's around $250 to $550. If your expenses come in under budget, you can use it to pay off your debt, and that allows you to pay off faster.
Next is shelter. This is the biggest part of your budget. This covers your rent or mortgage, your insurance, property taxes, and maintenance. You don't want your shelter to be over 35% of your household income. So the range should be between 25% to 35%. But this would really depend on your location, because we have high cost of living areas in Canada like Ontario, British Columbia. But look for a way to keep that shelter budget in between 25% to 35% of your income. If you're spending over 40% of your household income on shelter only, guess what? You're house poor, and you may need to start looking for ways to increase your income so that you can also meet some other financial goals in your life. Some people actually live for their mortgage. If they don't earn an income in a month, they cannot afford that home. So that's not a good place to be. In the example of a couple, earning $5,000 monthly, that's about $1,500 to $1,750 going towards their shelter. Your primary residence is not an asset unless it's bringing you an income. So it's very important that you keep the numbers that you spend on shelter low for as long as you can and as reasonably as you can. In our own case, currently, we spend about 22% of our household income on shelter, and that's a good place to be. I'm not sure how long that's going to be, but for now, we're liking it. That keeps us on the safe side. So far, we have covered 3 of the 4 walls of an essential budget. The first one is food, second one, utilities, and the third one, shelter. Finally, the fourth one, transportation. Whether it's gas, car payments, or public transportation, you need to budget for getting around. But no, plane tickets to Disney do not count. This is all about essentials. Transportation should take about 10 to 15% of your monthly income. In the example we've been using of a couple earning $5,000 monthly, that's about $500 to $750 monthly in transportation. Keep this number in check by driving less and taking public transportation if possible.
Now that we have covered the essentials, it's time to get serious about debt repayment. With the 4 walls in place, this couple can allocate the remaining money towards debt after covering food, shelter, utilities, and transportation. They have about $2,250 for debt repayment each month. Now let's get practical by showing you how to use a zero-based budget to knock off your debt. Now we'll be working the zero-based budgeting, and we are looking into using the 4 walls of our budget. Right now, let's look into the category. In this category, we have food, utilities, shelter, and transportation. In the next column there, you can see recommended expenses in percentage. And then you see the sample allocation based on 5,000 monthly income. For the example that we are using, this scenario is $5,000 as the monthly income. So right now, for food, if you remember, your recommended expenses shouldn't be more than 10 to 15% every month. Your food shouldn't be taking more than that. And if you look at that, that goes to about $500 to $750 every month. If you're spending more than that based on your income, that means you're spending too much. You should look into it. For utilities, we have a 5 to 10%, 5 to 10% of the recommended expenses for a $5,000 base budget. Right now, the sample allocation should not be more than $250 to $500. If you are spending more than that, you should check out yourself. That means you're spending too much on utilities. You should probably cancel out some subscriptions that you have for yourself. Next in line is shelter. Shelter. You shouldn't be spending more than 30% to 35% of your monthly income on shelter. In our own case, we told you earlier on that we are spending just 22%, which keeps us on the safe side. We are right now on the safe side. So for this example that we are using, the money for it should be about $1,500 to $1,750. If this couple are spending more than $1,750, that means they are spending more than what they can afford. For transportation, recommended expenses in percentage will be 10 to 15%, which comes to $500 to $750. Now, friends, if you look at these numbers, you add all this up, this will give us $2,750. If you look at these numbers, you add it up, it will give you $3,750. If you subtract this from $5,000, which is the total income for this family, you will get $2,250. And for this one, if you subtract it from $5,000, you will get $1,250. Now, if you have $2,250 put into your debt at the end of the month, or you have $1,250 into your debt every month, which one would you prefer? When you look at these numbers, these two numbers will be the remaining for debts and other expenses that you might be incurring during the month. Now, these numbers, if you take a look at these numbers, as I was saying, $2,250, if you put it into your debt every month, it will only take you less than 12 months to pay off your debt of $25,000. If you remember, this couple, they are owing $25,000. If they put in $2,250 into their debt, it will take them less than 12 months to pay off their debt, considering the interest of 7%. And if they put in $1,250 into their debt every month, it will take about 20 months. Whatever it is, they are still paying off their debt. And the good part of it is that they know when they are paying off this debt. This is the power of zero-based budget. That means all the $5,000 they get in at the beginning of the month is being spread out all over their expenses, and the remaining goes into their debt. And this it comes to zero. Everything they have left becomes zero. That is why it is called zero-based budget.
Now, that's the power of a zero-based budget, where every dollar is accounted for and whatever is left goes towards debt. By the time this debt is paid off, this couple would have built great financial habits and can start saving or investing that money that was going towards debt. So when should you use a zero-based budget?
I think that's all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Whether you are in a financial emergency like a job loss, or you're just setting up your monthly budget, these principles will keep you on track towards your financial goals.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who's ready to tackle their debt and build wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.